Here you go, potential GF with Rosatona shirt. What is this?
Player. My favorite LR player.
What's going on here?
I don't know.
She doesn't know who her favorite LR player is. She doesn't know, guys.
Do we talk about like just gameplay wise, or do we talk about like
gameplay wise? We're talking full package.
I think gameplay wise, it would be Nemesis, number 1. Then it would be Baus, then Velja.
That's a good taste, yeah. Pretty good taste.
Maybe no Reckless before Velja, and then Crowny. But otherwise, I think
Crowny last.
Baus.
Having Crowny.
Then Velja. Then Reckless. Then Nemesis.
But now I'm last.
And then Crowny.
No, I'm second last. Fuck. It's over. Guys, you wanna see my shirt? Everybody take a look at my shirt today. This is a Valentine's Day special. Yeah. Yeah. Well, now you guys know what I was gonna tweet if we made playoffs, but we didn't make playoffs. Oh fucking 7. I spent all this effort preparing a banger tweet and everything, and then it didn't happen. I'm not playing Aurora, bro. Bro. Oh my god, oh my god, I need to get it off my chest. Like, Chovy has found a fucking disease today. A fucking disease that I'm going to have to clean up. It's a mess that I'm going to have to be the one cleaning it up. Because he built fucking Protobelt on every champion, and now there's gonna be random Aris with Protobelt in my games. Oh my god, I'm getting candy as we speak. Disaster, complete disaster. And I'm gonna have to answer questions about Protobelt Ari for the next 2 months. This is like the power. Chovy is like Thanos,
Happy
you know?
anniversary.
Like, the power he holds. He can just play a random champ with a random build and people are just gonna instantly play it. Protobelt on Aurora, not the worst. Protobelt on Ari, garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. That's why I'm not talking a lot. What is this?
Elaborate on what I'm thinking, so you don't say that I said that he make. If I had to elaborate on what I'm thinking, so you don't say that I said that he make a mistake. I never said he made a mistake. That's why my sentence took 5 hours, by the way, to finish, and you still called me out for that shit, by the way. I was talking for 5 fucking hours, you don't call me out, and you still call me out, by the way. How insane is that shit? Holy fuck, bro.
Hello?
I need to suck his dick next time if I want to talk about his gameplay, I guess.
What is happening in this clip? What is he even molding about? What's going on?
I don't care, bro, I love you! Quadra kill! What the fuck? Penstack, what the? What? Bro, I'm about to start screaming every single game. What the?
What the fuck was that clip?
Was it difficult to play LEC without engaged supports?
Is it difficult to play LEC without engage supports? I don't get the point of this question, because like some team comps don't need engage supports, right? There was like an EMEA Masters game, Nemesis. Let me try to find it. I remember it. It was this game. Look at our team comp. Look at our team comp. It has no engage. It has no engage. Yet the enemy can play because they have no engage and we outrange them. So you don't need engage in every team comp. Like, who's gonna engage in our team? The only engage we have is Gragas Flash E in late game. That's every 5 minutes. That's the only engage we have. We don't even need it, because all we need to do is just peel, because we win by ranging them. Should I rant about Azir and Orianna in LEC? Should I explain to you guys? Okay, like, I'll try to explain it very fast, okay? First of all, just talking about Azir specifically, okay? Azir is horrible right now. Like, okay, but what I mean by horrible, The priority that pro players are showing across the world on Azir is completely fake and blown out of proportion, okay? First of all, you have to statistically compare him, okay? This is not even my opinion. We're just looking at it statistically. We're looking at Azir statistically before season 16, and now, right? In the new season. That's the first comparison, and then you also have to remember like all the nerfs that Azir has gotten, because when Azir was really OP last year, he had like the 70% W AP ratio. He became very Thanos because that ability was crazy. And then they nerfed it back to 60, and then they put it to like 63 or something. Anyway, if we look at Azir's win rate across season 16, it's very bad. It sits around 46 to 45. Around 46 to 45, which are very bad numbers for this champion. When this champion is Thanos, he's usually around 48, 49. It's never at 46, 45 when the champion is good. So just looking at it statistically, without actually thinking about it at all or having a personal opinion, the champ is garbage. A lot of Azir's matchups, and this is something I realized by playing like hundreds of games of Azir and Screams, a lot of Azir's matchups are now very bad, even though they were winning in the past, and there's one main reason for this. The easiest one to kind of explain about is the Talia matchup, because back in the day, if you guys remember, there was a patch where Dopa was talking about how TF versus Salas used to be a mega easy matchup, and then TF got nerfed by 5 MS, and all of a sudden Dopa can't win against Salas a single game anymore. It's kind of the same thing happened about Azir. There's a patch here, 25.12, where Riot was mega nerfing Azir before Worlds or whatever, and they nerf his base MS to 330, and all of a sudden, all matchups that you require to have high MS in are now unplayable, and Talia is one of them because MS is so important in spacing her Q and spacing her W in general. And in this season, with Azir, especially with the way Quest is set up, you basically want your Nasher as soon as possible. All the gold needs to be accumulated into Nasher. It's the same reason why you don't buy like Darksteel and stuff to delay your Nasher. And then once you have Nasher, you go for tier 2 boots. But by the time you're already bleeding so much in the matchup, and you've lost like hundreds of waves of push, and you probably are Jake down and stuff like that. So that's like another thing. 5 MS got it from this champion makes like such a big difference in so many matchups, and then Riot's also made like changes where his laning phase is now a lot worse here. His W cooldown is like a lot longer early, and he has like less wave clear in lane, so yeah. So that's the thing about Azir. Now talking specifically about Azir Orianna matchup, right? This is a matchup that happens a lot like in LEC right now. A lot of people have very black and white view on the matchup. They basically just say Orianna wins early and Azir outscales. But in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure I'm like the only pro who thinks that it's completely the opposite. If this is like at the highest level of gameplay, it also depends on the runes, right? Because like Orianna can decide to go full early game runes, then she will be a bit stronger, while Azir will normally go always the same rune page. So Azir in this matchup will always go bone plating. Every Azir in pro plays bone plating because it allows you to tank an additional QW by Orianna every 45 seconds. It makes a huge swing in the matchup, and then they play flat health and stuff, right? Azir runes are pretty like the same every game, as Orianna runes can fluctuate a lot, right? Because you can go Scorch, you can go Gathering, you can go flat HP, skinning HP. Orianna has more options when it comes to like how she places her runes. But let's say, for the sake of argument, Orianna will go full early game runes. Then yeah, the matchup is slightly skilled, and it heavily depends on whether you can secure push as Orianna in the first 2 waves. To try to show you guys, so what's really important in this matchup, like imagine you're the blue side and you're the Orianna or Azir player. What people have realized over time, level 1 is a huge portion of pro play, and let's say you're blue side as a mid laner here, Orianna or Azir. A lot of times as a mid laner you have to cover this area, and a lot of times trinket usage becomes very important here. So what people have realized over time is that being in the lane very early is very important in this matchup, okay? So as both sides, the reason why this is very important is because if Azir has the upper hand in lane against Orianna, Orianna has a hard time walking in because then she's walking into his soldier range. Azir with W on max range kind of outranges Orianna walking in. And then if Azir is not in lane and Orianna sets up a ball, then the first Q that Azir will have to walk in lane will be free for Azir. So all this like small damage that you can accumulate in level 1 already like completely changes how the matchup is going to be played. That's the first thing, right? And then there's like other things that people have learned over the matchup. So basically, as Azir has better auto attacks level 1 than Orianna. So depending on like minion RNG, Azir can kind of get push by default. Like it really depends. Like it just comes down to like these small details, and then there's like details like sometimes Orianna will only cast a Q but not W because Azir will dash, so she baits out the dash. There's details according to that. So the way the first 4 to 5 levels play depend on rune, it depends on how the level 1 is played, it is slightly RNG depending on minions. And from my experience, I think it's slightly Azir favorite. I would give it 60-40 to Azir, actually. Even though if you ask pro players, they will say it's probably like 80-20 for Orianna. Okay, if we skip the level 1 and level 3 and whatever, pre-first base, so the thing is like Azir wants Blasting Wand on the first base, because if he gets Blasting Wand and like refillable on the first base, his W starts nuking Orianna. So then the matchup becomes really hard. And then once level 6 then it becomes very Azir favored, because Orianna is basically under constant threat of getting shuffled. And it's very hard to leave the shuffle, and it's very hard to bait the shuffle. And Orianna needs the jungler behind her all the time and stuff like that. So post level 6, it is pretty Azir favorite. No, when Azir's biggest strength in this matchup is the Nashor's power spike and level 9, right? Because around level 9, Azir will complete Nashor's, and then he kind of like just all-ins Orianna and beats her. Right? So depending on how the lane is played. But okay, why do I think Orianna is a better champ than Azir? Is what I'm ultimately coming down to. I think, in short, Orianna's utility and what she provides in teamfights and how the game is played is just vastly superior to Azir. There's just so many like combos you can do with any like bruiser, meta jungler, even some supports. I think her shockwave has crazy value. Her E alone with like the MR and armor you give to your teammates with the W boost. Orianna just simply, even though like Orianna outvalues Azir by so much, only if the game goes to like 5 items, then Azir is better. But the game will never go to 5 items, because usually the game ends before with like multiple dragons and bars, right? Games you can watch LEC games go to like 3 items, they very rarely go to like 4 or 5. And this is why I think like Orianna's mid game just like stomps Azir. Okay, the last thing I wanted to mention about Azir Orianna matchup. One very important factor in this matchup that people don't think about is, and this is not really game related, how players feel, okay? And that applies to like majority of players. Players will not want to play the boring champion. Players will want to play the fun champion, okay? Players, especially like pros, they would rather play a Yone than they would play a Massacre, okay? In simple terms. Stimulation, right? Or like dopamine, whatever. It's like they would rather, like Azir has a lot more individual agency. Azir feels a lot more like a carry. Orianna feels a lot more like a utility, and depending on teammates. So you have to understand that by default, players will prioritize playing Azir over Orianna, simply due to the fact that Azir is less boring, and Azir feels more of a carry, and Azir has more individual playmaking, and Azir has more 1v9 dopamine effect. That is simply why majority of people will by default prioritize Azir, even if Orianna is better. Okay, but yeah, TLDR is I think Orianna is a way better champion pro, and people should be playing Orianna or Azir, whatever.